For our leg focused workout this week, we've got a special focus on the quads. That's going to be on the inside of the legs. We're hitting these bad boys with some split squats, leg extensions, then hitting up the hammies with some towel curls and RDLs, and then bringing back some one arm presses where you're going to choose the variation that works for you. As always, keep fit and have fun. Leg day is going to start off with some squat and squat holds. So the way this works, you're going to be doing 2 sets. You're going to be holding for 5 seconds in your bottom tension position and then pumping out 1 to 3 reps. You're going to repeat this as many times as you can without resting until you need to take a break. Rest as you need to and then repeat for a second set. Looking to pump the legs up, especially on the inside with these. Next up, we're going for some split squats. So for these, you want to focus on getting 15 to 20 reps, add weight if you need to. You want your front leg to be elevated slightly, and then find the angles and the rhythm that lets you really pump up the inside of the leg. What we're looking to really hit is that inside quad, inside hamstring, and inside butt. We want to get that leg nicely pumped up before we move on to our more complicated exercises. Leg extensions are next. These are a little challenging, so play around with them as you need to. Find a good hand position that doesn't bother your wrists, and then focus on feeling that nice stretch as you bring those legs down, and then flexing those quads as you straighten those legs back up. The key with this is angles, so if you have a stool or something you can step on, that works nicely. If you have a band, you can add resistance to make the exercise more difficult, but be wary, this one's pretty hard with just body weight as is. Same idea, focus on letting the band pull your legs down and then squeeze those quads as you push away. Think about flexing your muscles to create tension, not just moving through the motions. Next piece, we're going to get some hamstrings fired up with some towel hamstring curls. We did these the previous week as well, so there's 3 variations you can use. For all of them, you want to make sure you keep pushing those heels down into the floor and towards you as you pull those heels towards your butt. So with this first variation, we're just sliding those feet down on the floor. Look to be in control, maintain lots of tension with these. Once you get the hang of this variation, you can do the same thing, but add a little twist to it. So we bring those heels on in with that tension, feeling those hamstrings as you bring in. Then you're gonna bring the hips up, squeezing the butt, and then slowly try to straighten those legs back out. The key here is to be slow. With this exercise, that's where all the gravy is. It's on the way back out. So you want to lift and then take your time straightening those legs and stretching out, lengthening those hamstrings. The key with this, once again, is keeping those heels driving into the floor, engaging that butt as you bring it up, and then taking your time as you lengthen back out. Less is more with this variation. If you want an advancement and you can handle it, the third variation is essentially going to be putting both motions together in one explosive pull and then going for a slow return back. So that one looks a little bit like this. Big squeeze and pull. You bring up the butt and those heels in and then slowly try to lengthen back out. Again, big squeeze, pull on in. With this variation, you want to try to keep that core tension so you don't break at the spine. You want to be powerful with that first pull so you can get those legs up and then slow down as you straighten out and stretch those hammies. Play with the rep range, play with the variations, and find what works best for you. Quality comes first as always. This is going to go right into a set of RDLs. So for these, a variety of objects can be used, but the key remains the same regardless. You want to get a nice big stretch in those hammies on the way down. So if you feel a little bit too much calves while doing this on the way down, you either need to bend your knees a little bit more or not go down as low. Depends on the person. Same exercise can be done with a dumbbell, kettlebell, sandbag makeshift, a bag as well. But again, same idea remains. Big stretch on the way down. Think about pushing the floor away on the way up so we engage those legs and keep that midsection tight by squeezing your object. If you have bands, this is a good variation to try. It adds a little bit of a twist to it because the resistance is a little different. You anchor it between your legs or underneath your legs and then pull back and forth like so. But same principle applies. Look for that stretch on the way down and push away on the way up. If flexibility is your friend, then you can try the elevated version here, in which case you can get a little bit of a deeper stretch. But keep in mind, the stretch should be in your hamstrings, not your calves. Finish for today is going to be one arm presses. 3 variations. First variation is a seated one arm press. For all of these, you're going to be going for 3 to 5 sets, 6 to 8 reps per side. Stay tight through the middle. If you're pretty good with that seated press, you can try the standing one. I like to do these with a slight pause up top. My overhead strength is not the greatest, so I find the pause helps me maintain control and stay strong. But for all these variations, you want to make sure you stay tight through that middle and avoid letting yourself lean too much towards one side or the other just because that weight's on the one side. You can use the push press if you're limited by weight as well. The more difficult variation that I found for myself is the straddle press. So for this one, you want those legs out straight, so those hammies nice and stretched, and then still going for that overhead press. With this variation, it's the most dependent on your leg flexibility as well as core strength. So if either of those are lacking, probably want to go with one of the first 2 variations. But if you've got those 2 in your corner, you might want to try to challenge yourself with a harder variation like the straddle.